Hi, line 1, it's your turn.
Pablo. Hitting the snooze button, right? I could just get 5 more minutes to sit, 10 more minutes to sit, so they'd be hitting the snooze button again. Now, first of all, I mean, think about this. Is that the dumbest invention you ever heard of in your life? An alarm clock? I mean, think about it. It's got to be the most unnecessary, stupid, idiotic invention ever done. Do you know when you're supposed to wake up, Debbie? When you finish sleeping.
Line 4, you're live on Talksport. Hey.
Tommy.
Yo.
Can I pleasure your wife?
Oh, suit me. I'll be able to get on with that book when I get home. 08700 40 50 60, or you can email us. The website is www.talksport.net. Tiny people. Oh, well, people in villages don't work. They got all the time in the world.
Just knit and cook.
That's it. They want the postman to stay for 20 minutes. I bet sometimes the postman can't get away.
Yeah.
Have you ever been a postman?
No.
I did a Christmas delivery when I was a student.
I've heard it's good money, actually.
It's not good money.
Oh, it's
I got told off for having a cup of tea in my own house, because my own house was on my route. So my mum would make me a cup of tea. And I'd come up the garden path, deliver the letters, and then I'd stand on the door and drink a cup of tea. And one of the senior staff who were going around checking everybody saw me doing it. And when I got back to the police station, to the post office, I got a dressing down. It's illegal for post persons to do that. 08700 40 50 60 is the Talksport switchboard. This evening, I'm Tommy Boyd. This evening we're taking calls. It's an exercise in democracy, live, unscreened. Never know who you're going to get, completely at random. And we let people say whatever they want to say until they either extinguish themselves one way or another or feel that they've made their point and toddle off to listen to their recording of themselves. Because it's an increasing thing now for people to set a tape recorder going against the radio in the hope that they make it. And that's perfectly cool. The Welsh do something similar. I was working with somebody once and I said, I've got a mate called Ray. That's all I said. I said, well, I've got a mate who knows about that called Ray. And do you know what the woman said? She went, oh, is he Welsh? What? How? And what?
I've got a mate called Ray, he's not Welsh.
But you're the same, aren't you, really?
Yeah.
A lot of Scots are. You never ever get an English person doing that. You wouldn't.
True.
You just wouldn't. And that's, much more laudable than pointing out that you lot invented tar and telephones. Bring back the old Tommy, I miss him. Good luck to you, I wish you well. P.S. You were great in the bill. Yes, I was great in the bill. That's because I'm a good actor, as well as everything else. Annoying, isn't it? It's a performance, son, it's a performance. Like everything in life, you go into the transport caf to buy a bacon sandwich. You give a performance. All of us do.
All the world's a stage.
And all the men and women merely players.
They have their exits and entrances.
Exactly. Well said, Ash.
What's the next line?
I can't remember.
And one man in his time plays many parts.
Plays many parts. Very good. Go on.
At first the baby, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms.
That's it. Very good.
No, I can't remember anymore.
It goes on and on and on, right through to the last bit, which is Son's eyes, Son's teeth, Son's everything.
Beautiful.
Fantastic. There's a really good one where Daphne, suggests to Frasier that men could use sex to get what they want in the way that women do. Use sex to get what they want. And Frasier has this moment. He turns in his door. He's got his coat on. He turns in his door. And he turns back to Martin and Niles and Daphne. And he goes with his blazing eyes. He goes, how can men use sex to get what we want? Sex is what we want. Great line. Brilliant line.
To the Future, yeah.
Yeah, it was in Texas.
Oh, the one who was...
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It was a great line that I remember that they were trying to phone somebody's grandfather who'd gone to live in in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And somebody said, what's the code for Sao Paulo, Brazil? And one of the characters went, don't be ridiculous. Who the hell knows the code for Sao Paulo, Brazil? And Jim was sitting reading a magazine, and he just looked up and he went, 01947382669. And then there was this look on his face, which was, how did I know that? How did I know that? Funny. 08700 40 50 60.
For the record, why did you actually leave Talk Radio in the first place?
They threw me out.
Why?
Don't know.
Come on, caution, no.
No, don't. No, I've never lied since 1973, and I take great offence at anybody who thinks I'm ever lying.
So you don't know why you got sacked?
You must lie pretty casually then if you think I'd lie like that. I mean, you just asked me a very pertinent question, and I've done you the dignity of giving you a straight answer.
Stop avoiding the subject, Tommy. What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know.
So you didn't even ask?
No. Didn't get time to.
What do you mean you didn't get time? Of course you got time. Unfair dismissal?
You don't know much, do you? You're a very young soul.
Oh, Tommy.
What do you want me to say? I'm just telling you the truth.
I want the real reason. You're hiding something.
Go on, ask me any question. I've never lied. I've never had a need to lie because I always find my truth is so interesting.
Right.
I'm telling you the truth, pal.
Okay. What do you think of Mike Dickin?
What sort of a question's that?
You fool. You fool.
See, people like this frighten me because they got the vote. He could vote for a government. Right,
Shut up, Ash.
He could vote for a government that would be running, like, say, for example, the lives of my children. I think people like this not only should not have the vote, but should actually be hounded. I would train dogs to chase this person wherever he was at repose.
That would be good to work.
I would train monkeys to get into his house and slit pieces of his body with their claws.
You need a straitjacket, Tommy.
No, that's what I would do to you, because you're rubbish.
You need a straitjacket.
You don't belong in the same species as me. In fact, you're not in the same species as me. I have evolved more than you.
You need locking up, you do.
No, that's my point.
You're a loose cannon.
You do. No, I'm not. I'm totally and utterly sane, pal. You're rubbish.
No, you are.
You're a bad person.
That's why you're on graveyard shift, Tommy.
Your soul smells.
You're pathetic.
I'm just not, you see, and everybody knows that, and everybody knows that you are and that I'm not. How does that feel?
No, I don't think so.
I know so.
I don't think so.
No, I know so.
What?
And I know more than you because I'm cleverer than you, and I'm better looking than you. I'm more successful than you. I've had more women than you. I know more famous people than you. I'm more influential than you.
You're lying.
I have done more interesting things than you. My life is better than your life.
No, it's not.
Tell me about your life then. Tell me about your life. What have you done? Tell me about your life. What have you done?
Okay.
Who have you had?
Okay.
Go on. Come on.
You're lying about Arnold Schwarzenegger. You've never met him at all.
Tell me what you've done. Tell me about your hollow, little, shallow life, your non-existent life, you little spluttering candle of a man. What have you done?
What have I done?
Yeah, what have you done?
Like more than you have.
Tell me one thing. Tell me your greatest achievement. Tell me your most proud moment. Go on.
Climbing the Mount Everest.
Tell me your most proud moment.
Scoring the winning goal in the cup final.
You've done nothing. When you go...
I ploughed.
Nobody will notice. Not even. Listen to this carefully. When you go, nobody will notice. Not even you.
And you'll be noticed, will you, Tommy?
Strange man. No, not a strange man, really. A lot of men like that simply console themselves with their jealousy of people like me. Right, now go away then and lick your wounds.
No.
Your argument is already dead in the water.
No, it's not.
You're dead in the water. You're face down in a muddy ditch.
I'm not already face down.
And the blowflies are already salivating, thinking about where they're going to lay eggs. Come on, man. You're absolutely a dead duck, sitting and dead. Talksport. Correspondent, who I won't identify, has emailed from London to say, how do you chat up women? I'm 18 and too nervous to approach women as I never know what to say. Cheers. Okay. If you start by thinking that you are chatting up a woman, you will fail. That's the key. Don't think, I'm chatting up a woman, I'm going to chat up this woman. Just talk to people. That's it. I'm not going to say any more than that, because Although they did do a study in America into the best way of saying hello to a strange person in a pub, nightclub, bar, wherever. And it goes like this. Hold on, if I can remember it. Hang on. Hello. Yeah, that's it. With that kind of up and down. Hello. You know, it doesn't mean hello or hello. It's hello. And you can hear that it kind of just means, shall we have a conversation or not? And if she looks at you and just goes, hello, and looks back at her friend, walk away and don't take it as a defeat. It ain't, you know. Just start there, just hello, and see what happens.
Hello.
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 But before you say hello, it's a good idea to catch eye contact first. Just, if you see someone you like, the look of,
Yeah.
see if they're looking at you. And if they are, look away, straight away. Don't stare. Look away, and then look back about 3 seconds later, and just if they're still looking, look away again. Just hold it for a second, then look away again.
Yeah.
Eye contact. A little bit of eye contact, and then hello, and then you're on your own.
Maybe a little sort of tick. A little sort of nervous tick just as you're looking at them.
But seriously, I mean, I did used to go out with women who just sit there. They just sit there over their Britvic. And, you know, and then people would say that you were being blokish by dominating the conversation, but they wouldn't say anything.
And they'd always give you the classic one-word answers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Really?
You know, and then sometimes they'd actually say, you must think I'm being very quiet.
Well, I was wondering if you were still alive, actually, darling.
You know.
Yes. It's like phoning an automated system. I might as well just press a button.
You feel like saying, you stay here if you want to just stare at the Britvic.
Yeah. You want to just sit on your own, love?
I'm going to go and talk to Ray and Dave and Untumba, my mates.
Or go on the fruit machine and get a pint.
Hopeless. Have you ever been in a wine bar and wanted to ditch the person you were with because you'd already seen somebody you preferred, even though you'd only been going out with that person for about 20 minutes?
Thankfully, no, because I've never been near a wine bar.
Have you not?
No.
Fantastic places for pulling.
I've been near one which was sort of like it, but it was in such a rough place. It was just a pub with nicer people in it.
What? The mistake that a lot of people make when they open a wine bar is to put furniture in it.
It usually goes through windows, I find.
What?
Usually gets thrown through windows in the end.
No. You see, the reason pubs aren't a good place for meeting new friends is because everybody's sitting down.
Yes.
Now, in wine bars where there's no furniture, you're constantly rubbing shoulders with new groups of people. And if you want to talk to somebody, it's dead easy because you just go to the loo. And as you go past the loo, if you've been exchanging eyes with somebody for about 5 minutes, which is the way to start it off, as you go past them to the loo, you make a point of just going past them and sort of going, all right. And if they go, all right, back, then you think, oh, okay. Then you go to the loo. And on your way back, you find a reason to pause and start a conversation. Now, you can do that in a wine bar. But if you're in a pub and she's sitting in a group of 5 over there and you're in a group of 3 over here, how do you start talking to her?
Because you can't...
You can't walk across.
I'm trying to break a ring.
No. You can exchange eyes all evening, but when do you get to talk?
You have to wait till she goes to the bar.
Wait till she goes to the bar. Wait till she goes to the bar.
Yeah.
And, you know, but even then, you'd be very lucky.
I did it on...
To make it look cash.
Thursday, I think. Thursday or Friday. I was
You
walking,
pulled?
Well, no, I was walking on the street. Someone exchanged eyes with me. I looked back.
Fantastic.
Walked along a bit further, stopped at a set of traffic lights, and got chatting.
Fantastic.
Just said hello. They were from Mexico.
They were from Mexico?
They were from Mexico.
Fantastic. Line 1, you're live on Talksport. Good morning.
Du bist ein sehr Auslock.
Depends on which way you look at it.
Hello, Tommy.
Hello, who's this?
Maisie.
Hello, Maisie.
I was thinking about that fellow that you've been talking to about the racing. I used to work in the racing. I used to work on the tote.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And I think I'll back that horse.
Axo.
I
would.
Right. Well, another thing I want to talk to you about, Tommy. In my house, my son is a musician, and we've had everybody, all sorts of people in my house. Coloured, Chinese, everything because of all musicians, right? And we've had homosexuals. And I am sorry to say this, Tommy, but I think the ones that are calling in to you, they are so upset about what they are in their sex, because I think they are very nice people, right? Can I talk about another thing, like Zimbabwe? My mother had a friend.
What do you make of this one, mate?
What?
Carry on.
What are you talking about? You're whispering there, Tommy.
No, I wasn't. I was just checking the lighting in here.
No, I'm sorry. This is very serious, right?
It is indeed.
My mother had a friend who had around 50. And I was listening to all this about Zimbabwe. And I thought to myself, it's going to happen there. You know, between the whites and the blacks. And Tommy,
yes,
about all this happening.
Yes.
And I wondered what you thought about it all, because when I think what my mother told me about her friends who had to leave Kenya, leave the ranch that had been there for the father and the grandfather and the great-grandfather, you know. And I thought I would have to have a little word with you, Tommy, what you thought about it all.
Why?
Why?
Yes, why do you want to know what I think about it? You don't know.
I really want to be...
Why, though? I mean, why are you interested in me having an opinion? Supposing I haven't got an opinion, because I'm somebody who doesn't believe you're just entitled to an opinion for no reason. I'm somebody who thinks you have to work very hard to deserve an opinion.
Like this, Tommy. Let's... yeah, no, you can't have an opinion,
No.
Tommy, I know that.
No.
But it's nice to talk about somebody, about what is happening there.
Why? How can it be nice to talk about something like that?
It's not nice. No, I'm sorry. That's the wrong word.
Yeah.
It's very, very hurtful.
Yeah, it can be.
What's happening?
I
I didn't mean nice, Tommy.
No,
Don't get me wrong.
Well, I did get you wrong.
You did, didn't
Because
you?
when you said nice, I assumed you meant nice.
No, I didn't mean that.
Ah.
I'm a bit cut up at the present moment about what all is happening.
Why?
With the white farmers.
Well, don't be. This is the trouble with the news, you see. It gets people all cut up.
It does.
You should not listen to the news. What good does it do you to know about what's going on in Zimbabwe?
Well,
you should avoid it.
This is the thing, Tommy. You should get the news, don't we?
But you should avoid it. You see, the news is just a commodity. They're selling it to you. They're selling it to you just like they might sell you paraquat or chipboard or glue. And they're selling it to you. And what's the worst of it is they're selling it to you, telling you that if you don't buy it, then somehow you are you're inadequate. And that's just not true. And it's a con. It's a con. It's a poor commodity, the news. It must be resisted as a commodity. You must say to the news sellers, just as you would say to anybody else, why do I want this thing then? It's massively overpriced, and it will certainly damage my sense of well-being. And in what way will it empower me? And why should I have to know that? Why must you tell me that? What makes you think I want to know that or need to know that? And worst of all, how dare you stand there in your polyester suit and tell me, right, that I have to know this, otherwise I will be uninformed, I will be ill-informed, and I won't know what's going on.
So sweet, Tommy.
Hell with you lot, the lot of you journalists. That's what you should be saying.
Tommy? Tommy?
Yes.
You're great.
I know, I'm brilliant, and I'm the voice of the future. And in 5 years, 100 years' time, they will laugh at us for swallowing all the So what you should do, tomorrow morning, right? No, this morning, at 10 o'clock, all right, just for 2 minutes, don't listen to Talksport. Listen to your lousy little radio station around your corner, and you will find that what they do is they crop up at 7 o'clock in the morning there, okay? And two guys go in. One's going to do the show, and the other one's going to do the news. And the one who does the news, right, finds out there's nothing in your area happened last night, and nothing has happened in the world, right? Because the Elian Gonzalez story will be covered by the national news. So what they do, all of them, and this is so grotesque, they ring the police station's incident room. And they ask if anything's happened. And sure enough, a kid got knocked off a moped and is seriously ill in hospital. And a guy got his lights punched out down in the town square. All right? And is at a bloody mess. And so they tell you that. And so you're lying in bed on a Sunday morning and you need to know that a kid's lost a leg in a moped accident and a guy ended up in a bloody mess in your town square because he drank too much and picked a stupid fight with another stupid guy who ran off. You don't need to know that. And if you do know that, you get horrible thoughts about people near and dear to you who might end up like that. Or horrible thoughts about yourself next time you're walking out in the dark and somebody might jump out from the town square and bloody your nose or your face or leave you in pulp. And it ain't going to happen. And all that happens because of these lazy so-and-sos rattling around alone in their lonely newsrooms is that the whole bunch of us get scared and thrown out of kilter. Our lives aren't like that. Our lives are not what happens in police incident rooms. So why do we get a steady diet of terrible things? And Kenneth Noyes and deranged farmers. They should be a paragraph at the bottom of a column, and that's it. And the rest of it needs to be about things that we can do something about, because we want to do things that we can do something about. And the rest of it should be sympathetic to the simple fact that it's hard enough to be a human being and know what we've got, and worst of all, know what's to come, without it being stoked up by people who think that we have to know about all the blood and gore. Do you know the phrase? I'll tell you the phrase, and this is how it is. If it bleeds, it leads. Oh, baby. And we're all going mad, and we wonder why, and we're all stressed out. You go in a health food shop, nobody's buying stuff for their arthritis any longer. They're all buying stuff for stress. They are. I'm not saying, that kind of coverage of stuff is the only reason for it. But it is a big reason. Am I the only voice here of sanity?
Affects me whether or not to believe in the ideology of what goes around comes around. I was wondering if you believed in it, Tom.
I'm not really sure I fully understand it. Well, I'm not really sure I understand it at all.
Well, I've sometimes thought that if I do things to the best of my ability and try to show, say, consideration to others, then perhaps things will turn out okay for me. And I just wondered whether you think that people really do get what they deserve, or perhaps I'm just deluding myself and it doesn't really matter whether I act in a good or bad way, however indirect or subtle. Do you know what I mean?
Well, if you act in a good way because you want to be kind to somebody, then that is a reward in itself.
Mm.
If you're acting kind to somebody because, you want to get a fiver back, as it were, metaphorically speaking, then your motive has to be questioned, I would have thought, when judged against the highest standard, because ultimately it's just an act of selfishness, isn't it?
Yeah, I take what you mean, but then again, there are a lot of people that are having a very happy life, but, have done wrong things. Do you see what I mean?
I don't know that there are.
I don't know. There can be a lot of rich, unhappy people, or perhaps criminals that are having a good time of it, but...
Well, we don't know them, do we?
No, we don't, but...
No.
Well, perhaps I should try to carry on as I am.
Epicurus, I think it was, said that no man can ever be happy if he thinks that he is going to be questioned about his previous actions or prosecuted for it. You can't be contented if you know that the police might knock on your door at any time. I mean, that's why I don't cheat on the Inland Revenue. I know a lot of people who try to. They think it's clever, or at least they think they ought to, because it's some sort of sign of virility. But I wouldn't do it because I wouldn't like the thought of, 3 o'clock in the morning. Good morning, Mr. Boyd. The Inland Revenue here.
That's right.
So I wouldn't want to be caught.
Well, perhaps I can only try my best. It's probably a little too difficult to try and even the Eudaimon way that Aristotle would have hoped, but,
Well,
just try my best.
well, you've got a long way to go.
Okay,
and,
thanks very much for your
keep up the
thoughts,
good
Tom.
work. Yeah, I'm glad you called. What a nice man. Worth having a conversation like that from time to time. Line 4, you're live on Talksport. Morning.
Yes, you had lots to say about Jill Dando in the media, but nothing to say about Zimbabwe. Bye-bye.
Line 5, you're live on Talksport.
Well, in the year 2000, I didn't think it would be involving Sikhs at Methodist Open
There
evenings.
won't be too much religion in the future, I don't think. Not as we know it, anyway.
Did you see Louis Theroux with Jimmy Savile, Tom?
Yes, I did, yes.
Yeah, what the hell was that about?
An interesting man, Jimmy Savile.
Yeah, I've always kind of liked the fact that Jimmy Savile's around, because we need characters, don't we? But I came away from that show just, I don't know, I just felt a bit sad and a bit kind of, oh, God, I just always said Jimmy is kind of, a media icon.
Well, he is, isn't he?
Yeah, but then I don't know, having his mum's belongings sort of pressed once a year. She died 30 years ago.
Yeah, that's fine. He's having a unique life.
He is.
And he's doing what he wants to do. And
top
he's
man.
doing it brilliantly well.
Yeah.
Brilliantly well. He's a character. Very nice man, too.
Yeah, well, I can imagine. Have you spent any time in his company?
Yeah, I went on a 10-mile charity run with him, just him and me, although his Rolls Royce drove along behind us, but just him and me talking. And you go on a long run with somebody and you do, you have a conversation. But he's guarded.
I just wish he would have relaxed more, because Louis Theroux, he doesn't come across to me as being particularly threatening. And, I just wish Jim had really relaxed, because I had really high hopes of that programme. Because I really wanted to get to know kind of what he's all about, but...
I don't think Jim knows himself. He's just doing what he wants to do on a day-by-day basis.
And it'll die a legend, won't he? But I just wish he had more obvious friends, you know what I mean? I mean, I fancied ringing him up for a pint.
He's, well, do it.
Yeah.
Do it, because I think he'd appreciate it. And I think when you reach Jimmy Savile's stage in life, and he did betray it at one point in the programme, you really do hope that somebody will come up to you and say, you've done well, you've been great, how did you do that? Could I do that? Will you tell me how to be as good as you? Are you happy? Did it work for you? What would you have done differently? Those sorts of questions. And I think that Jimmy noticed quite quickly that BBC film crew were actually trying to expose some aspect of him, were actually going to try and diminish him if he wasn't careful somehow during the programme. And in a way that happened in our perceptions. But if an old person, and Jimmy's old, if an old person wants to be asked what wisdom have they acquired in their 70-odd or 80 years, then you should ask them that question. And if they have acquired none, well, you can either tell them that or preferably don't tell them that. Just realise that. And say to yourself, well, then I will have acquired some wisdom by the time I'm 70 or 80. I don't care what it is, but wisdom, not knowledge, but wisdom, so that when somebody asks me, what have you found out that I might benefit from knowing now at this earlier stage in my life, you can say something. 08700 40 50 60, the telephone number. You can email tommy@talksport.co.uk.
Now, all the way...
08700 40 50 60 to line 1. Good morning, line 1. You're live on Talksport.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, Tommy, I'd like to know, what do you think about the crisis in Zimbabwe at the moment?
Well, as I was saying earlier, I'm sure you were listening. I don't.
You haven't got an opinion about it?
Well, I'm gonna say that I haven't because I don't see why I should, and I don't see why you should be interested in my opinion, and I don't see why you should be interested in it at all. So you tell me why you think you should.
My opinion?
You tell me. Well, would you turn to the bloke on the bus and say, what do you think about Zimbabwe?
No, but you're an authority, Tommy.
No, I'm not.
Of course you are.
No, I'm not.
Tommy, did you used to work on Radio 5? Sports Break or Sports Beat, something like that?
Now, this is a very unsatisfactory transaction, conversationally.
Tommy, and do you follow sport yourself?
You're clumsy.
Sorry?
It's a clumsy conversation. It's not working.
No?
No, it's got no humanity to it. No actual engagement.
Tommy, so what's doing, Tommy?
I didn't understand that bit.
What do you think is going to happen in Formula 1 tomorrow?
It's getting even worse now, isn't it, really?
You think so?
I do, yes.
Yes.
Very poor, Reeves.
You can't get very good callers at this time of the morning.
Well, the standard isn't always as bad as this.
Okay, so can you brighten it up?
No. No. No, I'll stick to what I think, though. You wouldn't want me to do any other, would you, listener?
Hello?
Hello, it's Tommy here. Who's that?
This is Jiffy the Spliffy. I am on the radio to say that, you know that geezer, the voodoo man? He copied me from many years ago. And I would like...
Line 3.
Hello, Line 3. Just very briefly, it has taken me 3 3/4 hours to get a call off you. 3 3/4 hours. Now, I know you're busy. I don't want to knock you, and I don't want to waste your time, but 3 3/4 hours to get a call, an answer from Talksport. It's not... Hello?
Hello?
That's not your fault, but how would you feel if you were trying to phone somebody for 3 3/4 hours?
Well, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't, no? Well, you're being honest. That's not your fault. Now, Talksport, used to give a great public service. But to be frank and not facetious, 3 3/4 hours, it's a wee bit much.
Well, how can it be different?
Well, that's a question I'd like to ask your presenter or even your boss.
Well, how
you keep on giving your number.
You tell me how it could be different.
Well, the thing is...
You're on the radio now. You must have realised that.
Well, yes.
Yes.
It's taken me 3 3/4 hours of my life, very precious, I'm not knocking Talksport. I think it's an excellent programme, does a good public service.
Well, what would you have been doing otherwise, then, that would have been so precious?
Well, what would I have been doing?
Yes.
Oh, well, I wouldn't have been wasting my time, would I?
I didn't ask you what you wouldn't have been doing. I asked you what you would have been doing that would have been so precious to us all.
Well, okay, I'd been making a point.
Well, what would you have been doing if you hadn't been ringing here for 3 3/4 hours?
Now, I don't know, but I think your attitude is very unfair,
I'm only asking you a question that you've provoked yourself.
Well, could I ask you a question?
No, I want you to answer my question, then I'll answer your question. What would you have been doing in the last 3 3/4 hours if you hadn't been ringing this radio station that was so precious?
Well, it does seem that I was wasting my time.
I asked you a question. What would you have been doing if you hadn't been doing this? What did you do for 3 3/4 hours at this time yesterday?
Well, possibly I could have been spending my time in valuable sleep. I
don't think so.
In the middle of the night, usually you're sleeping, but it was just that I'm one of these people, I like to make my point. And it just took me 3 3/4 hours to make a point.
Well, why?
And the only answer I'm getting of you is what would I have been doing? Well, I'm not getting paid for that 3 3/4 hours.
Because you said that you would have been doing something precious.
Yeah, I'd be sleeping. I wouldn't have been wasting. I'd have been spending my time in sleep. That's what night's for. I mean, I'm not getting paid for that 3 3/4 hours, but you are. What would happen if you'd been sitting there sleeping for 3 3/4 hours? You'd probably been getting the sack. So we're probably...
I can tell you that I'm much more adroit at getting the sack than merely falling asleep on the job.
Well, I don't suggest that you...
I know much more about getting the sack than you do, so don't you tell me how to get the sack. I know all about getting the sack.
Well,
I could get the sack for England.
I think you're being very facetious,
I'm not.
You're certainly not being fair. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put this question to your boss, and let's see what he says. Because I'm a fair-minded man.
No, you're not.
I am.
No, you're not. No, you're not fair-minded at all.
Oh, for goodness sake, how'd you make that out? I mean, it took me 3 3/4 hours to get through to you, and you're telling me I'm not a fair-minded man.
You're not a fair-minded man at all.
Well, go on, tell me why I'm not fair-minded.
Well, because you're going to report me.
I'm not going to report you. I'm not going to report you for not doing your job.
You're going to try and get me sacked.
Not at all.
I've got a wife and 2 children, and you want me sacked.
No, I don't.
You 3 3/4. Well, don't phone the boss then.
Oh, no, I don't. What I want to ask the boss is why you, a man that's working hard...
Listen, I'm going to have to cut you off now.
You're doing the best you can.
I'm going to have to cut you off now.
Well, okay. I'll not be phoning your boss because I'm a fair man.
Yeah, you are. No, you're not a fair man at all.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'll tell you...
No, you're not fair.
Okay, well...
I don't know what you ever learned in life, but it's not being fair.
Well, I try to be fair, thank you.
Well, try a bit harder.
Okay.
All right, then. Nice to talk to you.
All right, bye.
Fantastic conversation. Can I have a tape of that one as well? On the hour up
updates from the Sky News Centre, 10:89 and 10:53 a.m. Talksport.
Good morning, it's 4.
My wife and I... No. My wife and I... But what do you want that for? That's a ludicrous thing. I always say to people, what do you want my autograph for? What does anybody want anybody's autograph for?
I collect them.
You liar. You liar. Nobody who collects autographs has the intelligence to be able to telephone a programme.
Hmm.
It's beyond them. Can I have your autograph? What for? Because I collect them. Oh, right, there's a good reason. Why do people collect things? Now, I've got the Sunday People magazine in front of me here, and I bet you somewhere there's a ceramic doll with great big staring eyes, a very, very sinister-looking thing, which is called a collectible.
Mm.
Why do adults collect things?
For porn.
For porn? Did you say?
Yes.
Poor answer, really, wasn't it? You can try and keep up with me if you want, you know. It's like having a horse, isn't it? Honestly. I sometimes feel like a zookeeper. That kind of camaraderie. And men go for it in a big way, camaraderie. I haven't got the same barrel chest or that same sort of Joe Frazier-like neck. There's a fantastic... I think you've been to the War Museum. There's a fantastic sculpture. A bust of Mussolini's head, which I think was liberated, as they call it, by the Allies. In other words, nicked after the war. And what it is, I don't know how they've done it, but as you walk all the way around the bust of Mussolini's head, you see his face in profile looking in two directions. And he's the most stunning bust I've ever seen. It's a bronze. But it conveys so much about the bloke's physical appearance and which, of course, I mean, he's an incredible guy, Mussolini. Apparently, he had a flat opposite the Italian government. Again, he was democratically elected, just like Hitler, democratically elected. As far as anybody knows, never opened so much as one civilian prison, never mind about a concentration camp. So the only reason, I suppose, for his vilification has to do with his association with Germany during the war. But he's known to have held Hitler's disregard for ethnic groups at arm's length and found it difficult to understand, and certainly didn't engage himself in any... And maybe he should have engaged in meaningful dialogue with Hitler about it, but didn't. Anyway, he ended up hanging by his heels as a result of whatever crimes those were. But he's an extraordinary character. And when he was shot, I read a biography of Mussolini's. When he was shot, terrible business. The Italian resistance workers who had him and took him up into the mountains and had orders to shoot him and his wife, or woman, whatever, they got them out of the car at a lay-by on a mountain pass and told Mussolini to go and stand over there. And he knew exactly what was coming. And they got an automatic gun out of the boot of the car and aimed it at Mussolini, and it jammed. And this happened 6 times. These guys had to go through 6 weapons before they found one which worked, and loosed off a couple of practice shots, and then turned around and aimed it at Mussolini. And this was Mussolini's dying words. He just looked at this guy in the face and just said, in the eyes, and just said, "Not in the face." And sure enough, they shot him. They shot him in the chest. Anyway, he had a flat opposite the Italian government. He was a great ladies' man. He played the violin, Mussolini, and he used to score on a daily basis with secretaries and, you know, women in the office. And he used to take them across to this flat where he used to play the violin and then make love to them. They all noticed that he never took his spats off. Just took his trousers down. What an extraordinary character. Tommy, hi.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I've just woke up. I've had a drink and I've just woke up. Happy St. George's Day, love. Happy St. George's Day.
We don't do that.
I would like to talk about this little boy.
We're far too civilised to bother with any of that nonsense.
All right. Forget that. Okay. But I'm British and I'm proud of it, right?
Well, he's English. Okay. Where are you born?
I was born in Yorkshire, heartbeat country, Whitby, yeah.
Yeah.
Now then, I would like to talk about this little boy as a
But
mother.
you're British, and so you're celebrating St. George's Day.
Now, as a mother, I would like to talk about this poor little boy that was kidnapped. No, you've got children, haven't you? I'm a grandmother. Might not sound it, but I am a grandmother. Oh my God, I would hate to think what would happen to my grandchild if it was kidnapped like that. I can't believe it. It's so uncivilised. Don't you agree?
No, I don't. I think you're wrong on this one.
I'm sorry,
First
but...
of all, you're wrong to bring up other people's children. I'd leave my children out of it.
No, I'm not bringing up your children.
Well,
I'm
no,
thinking
you
about
brought my children into it, and I don't like that.
No.
Don't do that. You mustn't do that.
How would this little boy feel? How must he feel?
You mustn't do. You mustn't bring other people's children into these things. It's not fair on them. You mention my children on the radio. Don't do that.
No, I'm sorry.
Right. Well, that is I'm thinking of you towards other people's children.
I'm thinking about if it was my own children.
But don't bring my children into it. You have no right to bring my children into it.
But I don't mean it.
Well, it's cruel and it's unthinking because now my children have been mentioned on the radio. Now, what gives you? Why do you do that? You didn't think, did you? Supposing they're listening.
Why don't you listen to other people?
Why don't you stop and think about what you do wrong before you start telling America that they're wrong?
Are you a mother? You haven't got the same feelings as a mother's got.
That's crap. That's absolute garbage. That stinks. I've never heard such an appalling and useless, dreadful set of arguments in my life as that one. It's absolutely unbelievable. A mother. This mother that we're talking about died tragically, but risked the life of her 6-year-old son to do what? To escape to the freedom of Florida? Compared to the noble life of Cuba? That's a mother's love? And there was somebody in your street who was saying that they were thinking of risking their son's life for what? What is it? If you live in Cuba, what is the lure of Florida? Have you been to Florida? I wouldn't take 100 Floridas for one Cuba. It's a political propaganda exercise that's gone crazy. The lure of the so-called better life in Florida compared to what they have in Cuba. 08700 40 50 60. Please do not bring innocent children into a debate. Please do not. It is not fair on them. Think before you open your mouth. Think before you act. Think about what you might be doing wrong before you start pontificating about other nations and the way they behave, and other parents and the way they behave. And to crown it all by suggesting that a father knows not what it's like to love a child compared to a mother is just the most ludicrous claptrap I think I have heard this century. And I may not hear more claptrap than that for a long time to come. Absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. I've just had a drink and I've woken up. Have we got that call? I want to listen to that again sometime when I've calmed down.
Yeah, I can get that for you.
That was cracking.
She was, wasn't she?
What? And happy St. George's Day. I'm proud of being British.
Right.
Talk about putting your foot in it at every single...
St. George, patron saint of Britain, was he?
She missed every fence.
Practically he never left Palestine, but there we go.
Clattered every single bit of timber on the course. No wonder she fell.
Wouldn't do national anthem, would she?
Don't forget to subscribe and like. Comment too if you wish. Even slap your legs and make a purchase from Ann Summers. But don't do nothing.